Welcome back, my grounded ones. The ones who never folded, no matter the pressure. The ones who stayed calm in storms. The one who stayed real in a world full of masks. This isn't for the loud ones, the attention seekers, or the ones who chase approval. This is for the quiet strength. The ones who've been called too much and too cold, when really you were just too solid to be shaken. You ever notice how some people try to make you feel like you're the issue, just because you didn't break when they needed you to? Because you didn't react when they pushed your buttons? Because your silence made them face their own noise? Here's the truth. You were never the problem. You were the mirror they couldn't stand, the stillness they couldn't understand, the strength that made their insecurities scream. You weren't showing off. You were just built different. They hated that you didn't beg, didn't chase, didn't crumble when they ghosted you. They needed you to fall apart so they could feel powerful. But instead, you stood tall, calm, whole. And that, right there, is why they walked away. Not because you failed, but because you didn't. Because you didn't need fixing. You didn't need saving. You didn't need to prove a damn thing. Your peace made them panic. Your presence made them insecure. So they blamed you, called you cold, distant, arrogant. But none of that was ever real. They just couldn't handle how complete you were without them. You stayed grounded, rooted, unmoved, and now they spin stories to cover the fact that they lost something solid, something rare, something they never deserved in the first place. Let's go deeper. You were never the one causing drama. You weren't out there seeking revenge or explaining yourself in every room. You didn't have to. Because people who know who they are don't need to scream it. But here's the funny part. Your silence screamed louder than their noise ever could. You didn't react, and that drove them mad. You didn't chase, and they felt insulted. You didn't fall apart, and suddenly you became the villain in their version of the story. They needed someone to blame, and your strength became the easiest target. Because people don't know how to handle someone who's centered. They don't know how to exist next to someone who isn't emotionally all over the place. You were steady. You were whole. You were calm in a world that feeds on chaos. And that made you dangerous. Because when you don't depend on anyone for validation, you become a threat to those who do. You refuse to argue. You refuse to beg. You refuse to let your emotions be manipulated like puppet strings. And in return, they told everyone you were the cold one, the distant one, the one who changed. But let's be honest, what really changed was how much disrespect you were willing to tolerate. You weren't the problem. You just stopped shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable. You stopped explaining your worth to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You didn't go cold. You just went quiet. And sometimes, silence is the loudest goodbye. They wanted control, but you chose peace. They wanted a reaction, but you gave them growth. They expected a breakdown, but all they saw was a breakthrough. And now, they feel embarrassed, confused, shaken, because they didn't expect you to walk away with grace and never look back. Now here's the truth they never had the courage to face. You weren't too much. You were just too real, too grounded, too solid for their shaky intentions to stand next to. They couldn't manipulate you, couldn't shake you, couldn't mold you into something that fit their small world. Because you stood tall without needing to step on anyone. You kept your peace without having to prove your point. You made silence louder than their gossip, and that's why they feared you. You became a mirror a reflection of everything they were not ready to face. Their own insecurities, their own fake friendships, their own shallow loyalty. You exposed that by simply being you. They tried to confuse you, tried to gaslight you into thinking your boundaries were flaws, that your standards made you difficult, that your peace was distance. But now, they sit in quiet rooms, replaying conversations in their heads, realizing they lost someone who never tried to hurt them, only tried to protect their own peace. You never asked for much, just respect, just truth, just loyalty. And those who couldn't give it are now haunted by the way you didn't beg for it. Because you didn't clap back, you didn't stoop low, you just leveled up.